In the glow of black and white television sets across 1950s America, George Reeves was Superman. Strong-jawed, broad-shouldered, and firm in voice, he leapt into living rooms as the paragon of justice and strength. But behind the cape and the famous curl of hair lay a man grappling with disillusionment, stardom's prison, and ultimately, a death that raised more questions than it answered. George Reeves, born George Kiefer Brewer, lived a life as dramatic as the stories he acted in, a life bookended by mystery, ambition, and tragedy. Hello, I am Sean, your storyteller for the day. If you are new here, then hello. But if you have been here before, I'm glad to see you again. If you are not subscribed, please do so. George Reeves entered the world on January 5, 1914, in Woolstock, Iowa, though he would later adopt multiple names throughout his life. The product of a marriage that ended shortly after his birth, Reeves and his mother, Helen Lesher, embarked on a transient existence that took them from Kentucky to Illinois and eventually to California. By the 1920s, Helen had married Frank Besselo, a man who legally adopted George, giving him the name George Besselo. But this stability was short-lived. When the marriage dissolved, Helen told George that Frank had died by a claim that was untrue. Besselo lived until 1944, dying quietly while Reeves was already immersed in the Hollywood scene. It was in California that Reeves found his calling. In high school and at Pasadena Junior College, he developed a passion for acting and singing. His talent would later carry him into the Pasadena Playhouse, where he honed his craft and met his first wife, Eleonora Needles. They married in 1940, though the relationship ultimately ended a decade later without children. What did endure was Reeves' drive to perform, a desire that brought him into one of the most iconic films of all time. Reeves' big break came in 1939 with a small role in Gone with the Wind. Cast as Stuart Tarleton, one of Scarlett O'Hara's eager suitors, Reeves appeared in the film's opening scene, his hair dyed red to match his twin. Though the role was brief, it opened doors at Warner Brothers, where he signed a contract and changed his name to George Reeves. Yet Hollywood's golden light often casts long shadows. Reeves' early film career was marked by minor roles in B pictures and shorts. He acted alongside stars like James Cagney and Ronald Reagan, but his own star never fully rose. His contract with Warner Brothers ended by mutual agreement, and a short-lived stint at 20th Century Fox followed. After a handful of appearances, including a role in Lydia and several Hopalong Cassidy westerns, he briefly found critical recognition in the war drama So Proudly We Hail. It was this film that pushed Reeves to enlist in the U.S. Army during World War II, pausing his career for patriotic duty. In the Army, Reeves joined the 1st Motion Picture Unit of the U.S. Army Air Forces, performing in Broadway's Winged Victory and later appearing in training films for military use. The war years gave Reeves purpose, but when he returned to Hollywood, the film industry was shifting. Roles were fewer and paychecks smaller. Reeves, now in his 30s, found himself scraping by, even taking manual labor jobs, such as digging cesspools, to support himself. Despite few roles in action serials like The Adventures of Sir Galahad, his career remained stagnant. Then came Superman. In 1951, Reeves was cast as Clark Kent/Superman in the television series Adventures of Superman. Initially reluctant to take the role, he feared that television was a dead end, but the pilot film, Superman and the Mole Men, led to a full-fledged series, and soon George Reeves was a household name. The show brought him fame, admiration, and financial relief. He was adored by children and respected as a moral icon. Reeves took the responsibility seriously. He avoided smoking in public, spoke out in favor of saving bonds, and made countless public appearances. But the role came at a cost. Reeves found himself typecast. His identification with Superman was so complete that producers and casting agents could no longer see him as anything else. Despite a notable appearance in From Here to Eternity and brief roles in Forever Female and The Blue Gardenia, Reeves's career stalled again. The rigid contracts of the Superman series restricted him from pursuing other roles, and although the series filmed quickly, often just 2 months per year, he couldn't find substantial work elsewhere. He tried to escape the shadow of Superman with a proposed series, Port of Entry, but it was never greenlit. The reality became clear. Superman had saved him and trapped him. Reeves's private life was as tangled as his career. For years he maintained a romantic relationship with Toni Mannix, the wife of powerful MGM executive Eddie Mannix. The affair was an open secret in Hollywood. By the late 1950s, Reeves ended things with Toni and began a volatile relationship with Leonore Lemmon, a New York socialite. In 1959, Reeves was preparing for a Superman revival. The cast had signed on, scripts were in development, and Reeves was hopeful. But he was also reportedly disheartened. At 45, he was weary of donning the cape. He longed to be taken seriously as a dramatic actor and to find love and stability. He was said to be battling financial problems and struggling to get a pet science fiction film project off the ground. Then came June 16, 1959. In the early morning hours, Reeves was found dead in his bedroom with a gunshot wound to the head. Present in the home were Leonore Lemmon and a few guests. According to police reports, Lemmon had made cryptic remarks moments before the shot was fired. He's opening a drawer to get the gun. Then, "See there, I told you so." The LAPD quickly ruled the death suicide. Yet discrepancies emerged. The gun had no fingerprints. There were multiple bullets fired, though guests reported hearing only one shot. Reeves's body bore unexplained bruises. His mother, disbelieving of the suicide theory, hired a private investigator and pursued a second autopsy. It revealed no new evidence. Speculation spread like wildfire. Some suspected Leonore Lemmon. Others pointed to Toni Mannix, or his husband, Eddie, with rumored mafia ties. Biographers and journalists floated theories of jealousy, cover-ups, and revenge. Actor Rory Calhoun famously stated, "No one in Hollywood believed the story." To this day, no definitive answer has emerged. George Reeves was buried at Mountain View Cemetery in Altadena, California. A year later, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. In 1985, DC Comics honored him among 50 who made DC great. For many, Reeves was the first and only Superman. He was the man who stood for truth and justice, who flew across the screen and captured the imagination of a generation. But he was also a man caught between reality and persona, between George Reeves and Superman, and between the actor he was and the man he wanted to become. His story is a cautionary tale about fame, identity, and sometimes the tragic cost of immortality. The Man of Steel, it turned out, was human after all. So who killed Superman? We may never know. Thank you for being here. Until next time, be good to yourself and be good to others. Love y'all. Bye.